I think Trump's calculation is mixed up with his illness, which is narcissism, acute narcissism. And it's also mixed up with a political calculation that he's not very good at. I mean, there are a lot of younger people in that party that are much scarier. DeSantis, for one, who...
Well, there you go. I was just waiting for the scream, but it didn't happen. So that was the end of the soundbite there. Former DNC Chair Howard Dean appearing on MSNBC yesterday, and you heard him. He's bashing Trump, the narcissist, but also Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, John. He says Dean says he's a fascist for his governing policies, and Trump will be easier to beat than any of the other potential 2024 GOP candidates.
All right, joining us now to discuss this is Palm Beach County Republican State Committeeman Joe Budd. He's also a congressional candidate in Florida running to replace Debbie Wasserman Schultz in Palm Beach and Broward counties. Joe, great to have you with us. Always enjoy talking to you.
John, thank you for having me. I appreciate being on your show today.
Also with us, you can see former Trump campaign aide, author of Wicked Game, Rick Gates, is joining us as well. Rick, also great to have you with us.
Good to see you, John.
All right, we'll start with you, Joe. I'm sorry, Joe Budd. I'm going to combine your names on accident there. Joe, you also have started this organization called Club 45 in Palm Beach County. It's a great group of folks. I've had the honor of being there a couple of times, and the people could not be nicer. But you guys have hosted both President Trump and Governor DeSantis. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on this. I mean, I think a lot of people talk about Governor DeSantis, and the reason why Howard Dean thinks he's quote unquote scarier, it's not so much of the age thing, it's the eligibility thing. You know, Donald Trump has 4 years left as president, but Governor DeSantis could be governor for 4 more years, and then he could become president. And I think that's why guys like Howard Dean are so scared of him.
That's absolutely correct. First of all, they would both be better for this country than the current Biden administration, hopefully getting under control inflation and gas prices and get back to energy independence. But that's why Governor DeSantis scares them, because as you said, we could have 3 terms, Trump and then back-to-back DeSantis terms, and that would put the liberals really on edge.
There's nothing narcissistic either, is there, Rick, about Howard Dean? Of course, no.
No, nothing at all. No, it doesn't. It brings back those recollections of his video when he kind of loses it and goes off the rails pretty quickly. That's the first shot when you think about Howard Dean.
He will always be remembered for that, and always. That's why you need those reference monitors at all time. Audio crew is always important. Howard Dean paid that price.
And they like to ignore the facts, too, because that new poll came out showing that Trump is the most popular politician in the country right now, and he's not even, in office. So apparently, again, they're not looking at facts here. It's just the soundbite that, mainstream media wants to get there, isn't it?
Well, just this morning, 88% of the people think we're on the wrong track. So that's the same thing as the polls you're talking about.
Yep.
Joe, you're running to replace Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She's basically a member of the squad. I think she endorses a lot of the same positions. She's not quite as vocal as folks like Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. But I wanted to ask you about her race as well, because a Republican is trying to run in the Democratic primary there. The whole goal is to get Ilhan Omar to own up to the residency requirements to be a House of Representatives. The person running against her say they wanted to make sure that she's an American citizen. Basically, the court said that's not for us to decide. That's up to the House of Representatives at this point. But I wanted you to talk about Ilhan Omar, because she's been booed off a stage recently, but she still holds a lot of sway in the Democratic Party, much like Debbie Wasserman Schultz does. Talk to us about why you're running to defeat this type of ideology.
Well, first of all, I have to say that CD 23 is the old Debbie Wasserman Schultz district. This is an open seat. This is a combination of the former Ted Deutsch seat and Allen West seat, and Allen West is supporting my campaign. So this isn't against Debbie Wasserman Schultz. This will be an open seat. But as far as Ilhan Omar is concerned, we don't need a court saying whether she's a citizen of the United States to know that she doesn't love this country from all the things that she's said in the past. And I'm really hopeful on August 9th, her opponent can defeat her in a primary. Even her local Somalian people, as you just mentioned, booed her off the stage in a concert recently. So she's not all that well loved, and she doesn't particularly love America all that great either.
Yeah, and the booing was obvious, yet, Rick, she still posted it on social media. She put it out on Twitter and got, some laughs, too. Like, why are you proud of this? The Somalis in attendance didn't even want to see you on the stage. So when we talk about tone deaf, is she not even understanding there could be a shift in the tide there?
Well, absolutely. And sometimes you look and they try to find a way to make a bad situation, somewhat palatable by making, fun of herself. And clearly that's not the case. And I think when you look at her and the other progressives, what you're actually seeing, and you're going to see it moving into the midterms, is that a number of these Democrats, while they're aligned with the Democratic Party, that entire party has lost a lot of its base. And I think that, Omar is in big trouble up in Minnesota. We'll have to see, as we get closer to the primary and then the general. But, and you also watch out for, a number of these candidates. Is Omar going to have Biden up? She probably will. AOC, part of that same little enclave. It doesn't sound like she is. And I think you're going to continue to see less and less Democratic candidates, surround themselves with Biden because he is a liability as they run for reelect.
And Joe, thanks for keeping me straight on the shifting sands of the Florida congressional races. It's true, as you mentioned, Florida did gain some stuff has been redrawn here. Ted Deutsch not running for re-election, one of the many members of Congress who's stepping out. But it's going to be an interesting race, to say the least. Joe, great to see you. Rick, always great to talk to you as well.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Bianca.